So my name is Michael Meehan. I'm CEO of GRI. And Global Reporting Initiative is an international organization that helps thousands of organizations in about 93 countries around the world understand and communicate their risks and sometimes their opportunities around sustainability issues like climate change, but also other things like human rights, corruption, child labor, inequity, and so on. And so we're here at COP to not only discuss climate change, but also the impacts of climate change, which include all of these sort of sustainability issues.
Well, countries at the moment trying to forge a new global warming agreement, and its main focus is cutting emissions. But why is the issue of climate change more than that, in your view?
Yeah, well, think of an emerging market, right? Look at other markets like Syria, right, where changes in climate can have huge impacts on things like migration, human rights, corruption, terrorism, right? So it's these impacts are the things that business and governments need to be worried about, as well as things like carbon and energy and climate finance, the things that dominate the conversation at things like COP. So it's an attempt to kind of step back a little bit and say, well, what are all the impacts that these companies are going to have to deal with as a result of things like climate change?
Can you give us any examples of clients that have approached you for help on this?
Clients? Well, we don't have clients. We're a global nonprofit, so that's number one.
Okay, well, clients is perhaps the wrong term, but those that use your services.
Well, again, we set a standard, right? So a standard that everybody uses. So, and literally, there's thousands and thousands of companies in almost 100 countries around the world. So we don't talk about specific companies and what they do. They use our standard to, understand and communicate those risks. Yeah.
When it comes to signing this agreement, we need to know that countries are going to actually implement what they're promising. So having some kind of some framework to ensure that compliance is carried out, that's important?
Yeah, it's important sometimes. So as a standards organization, of course, we don't promote compliance, but there are markets in which compliance makes a lot of sense, especially markets where the trust in corporations or in governments is not high. Right, and so reporting and the whole reporting process that increases the transparency in these markets. Right, this is the whole point. This is one of the reasons we work through so many stock exchanges. Right, is that they and some of them mandate GRI. We don't chase compliance, but these are always markets that will benefit from increasing trust and credibility in that market. Right, so as the reporting comes up, transparency comes up, the credibility and trust of that market also increases.
Mikey, thanks ever so much. We'll leave it there.